I'm getting this bleach ready because today we're going to need it. Furries have a reputation on the internet for having some of the most insane drama known to mankind, and in this video, I'll be showing you why. From one that got exposed for, well, this message, to one whose diaper drama caused a civil war in the fandom, we'll leave no stone unturned as we delve into the disgusting domain of furry artist drama. Each story is going to be more unhinged than the last, so make sure to stay to the end if you want to reach the bottom of this rabbit hole. But before we get into this, firstly, a quick disclaimer. This video isn't meant to be targeting the furry community as a whole, okay? Not every furry is the same. The tales we'll be covering today take outliers and extremities for the purpose of me telling you interesting stories. So non-furries, please reserve your judgment of the fandom as a whole, and furries, please reserve your judgment of me. Also, I very quickly want to say that in no way do I approve of hate or harassment sent to anyone I'll be mentioning today. If you have anything critical to say, please keep it to this comment section. Do not go and witch hunt. With that said, let's begin with our first story about the time that a furry scandal became a news story on national television. This is the icon of Lupis Vulpes, a furry artist and former YouTuber. Our story begins in 2020, after Lupis was commissioned by a minor to make some art of their character holding up a trans pride flag, a request that Lupis turned down. The reason for this was that Lupis was a devout Christian and implied that this was the reason for the denial, that it went against her beliefs. We've discussed in the past that the furry community isn't exactly a monolith, they don't all think the same. In a previous video, we've covered the fact that there are far-right furries. What I'm getting at here is that there might be a bit of a stereotype that most furries seem to find themselves on the far left of the political spectrum. But as with any group, there is a variance in thinking, and Lupis is an example of this. However, despite there being some variance, most furries do seem to be accepting of the LGBTQIA+ community. And because of that, Lupis was now in hot water. Next thing you know, former clients and associates of Lupis took to the internet in order to produce a Google Doc discussing their experience with her. The document is about 2,000 words in length, and much of it was later redacted, it seems. But to give it a summary, it details examples of her alleged homophobia and transphobia, such as intentional misgendering, refusing to draw the trans flag, and expressing discomfort with LGBT representation within the media. There were some other more minor allegations made against Lupis, such as that she traced some previous work and that some of it was inspired by native culture. Some people went as far as to argue that she appropriated Native American aesthetics. I mean, personally, I don't see too much wrong with her drawing art that's clearly been inspired by native styles. Personally, I think that art and aesthetics should be free to use and public domain. I don't know if there's too much of an argument against me. Maybe I'm missing something, but that's just my take. If I'm horrendously wrong and cancelled for this, then please let me know why I'm wrong down in the comments. That said, I should mention that this controversy was in 2020, which, if you guys can't remember, it was a year where the pendulum had swung quite a lot from the more edgy days of the mid-2010s. Again, maybe I'm missing something here, but that's just my take. Interestingly enough though, according to posts made about the situation, it is curious that Lupis years prior had created LGBT-inspired artwork, which is likely what made people believe that she was supportive of the community in the first place. The rest of the document alleged unprofessionalism and criticized her response to the situation, claiming that she basically ignored all of the major allegations levied against her. And I guess the best way to find out whether or not this is true is by taking a look at the response. So here it is.
Hey guys, I've been wanting to talk to you. There's been so much said about me lately. Untrue things, completely untrue. I've thought of a couple different ways to share what the truth is. About the things which are being said about me, and about the incredibly unkind actions of some. But then after giving it some thought and prayer, I decided what I'd really like to say to you is this. People are putting words into my mouth without me even saying a word. They're calling me names based on what they imagine is in my heart, and it's not true, but still they say it. I find it incredibly unfair. But as we all know, it's really common on the internet. I would assume if any of you have known me or interacted with me, most of you know my love for people is genuine. I've loved knowing you and getting to draw all of your characters. It showed me all of your amazing creativity and has been a great joy and honor in my life. I love each and every one of you, even those who hate me and viciously attack me now. I don't hold it against you because I know those who attack likely have suffered attacks in the past and must be hurting deeply inside to be doing this to me. I'm also praying for you.
So yeah, this wasn't your typical response. What happens next was instead about 5 minutes of her discussing her beliefs and her relationship with God. Judge her response as you will, but this is really where the story begins to get crazy. What happened next is probably the reason why this story is so infamous. Because on the 4th of September 2020, an article was published on the Daily Citizen detailing the situation. It should be noted that the Daily Citizen is owned by Focus on the Family, which in its own Wikipedia page states that it lobbies against the LGBT community. Her involvement in this article shows that Lupis was not going to back down from her viewpoint, stating, "Don't give in to the peer pressure. First off, it won't satisfy, but second, you need to be true to who you are in Christ because that is your identity. He loves you, and if you bow down to what the internet wants you to be, it's never going to work out, and you're going to lose who you are in the process. I would say you'll be happiest being yourself and who God made you. He's going to take care of you. Even if everybody hates you, he's going to take care of you." And shortly, it would become even more obvious that Lupis was steadfast in her stance as she took things even further, conducting an interview on CBN, otherwise known as Christian Broadcast News. To put this into other words, furry drama became a news story on national television. I firmly believe that this is the reason that the story became so infamous. After this, the drama cooled off, but Lupis was essentially blacklisted from the furry art community. She would discontinue uploading to YouTube, decreasing from 215,000 subscribers when this drama took place to only 200,000 in early 2024. Flash forward to May 2024, and it was reported that she had deleted both her main channel and side channel too. Today, it appears as though Lupis is working as a storyboard artist for Butch Hartman, another born-again Christian, and the creator of such shows as Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents. But the next artist that we'll discuss had a downfall that was much more severe. So let's find out why. This next story is a very recent one, having taken place in October 2025. And when it comes to furry artists, I guess I need to express the elephant in the room, no pun intended, that being AI. Because over the past several years, the landscape of the furry art community, and all art communities as a matter of fact, has changed dramatically because of this new technology. People that before needed commissioned artwork to fulfill their furry needs could now simply ask AI to generate it for them. It should be no secret that the rise of AI is very controversial in the art world due to the threats it potentially poses towards hardworking artists. And for that reason, the vast majority of the community has come out against the use of AI in art. And one such furry artist was known as Mothdusky. Mothdusky in the past had taken to Twitter to complain about one furry known as Selena Snowcat, who ran a commissioned piece of artwork made by them through AI, despite the fact that in Mothdusky's right to use, it states that you can't use her art to train AI models. Selena Snowcat's use of Mothdusky's artwork was breaching that clause. People defended Mothdusky, who was seen as the victim in this situation, until a tweet was sent out that changed everything. A user known as Amora Bunny came out to accuse Mothdusky of tracing AI art. This was the AI original, and this was artwork made by Mothdusky. The resemblance is striking, and this raised a lot of suspicion. Long story short, after this, Mothdusky tried to downplay and deny, but more and more examples began popping up, with people even going as far as creating Google Docs attempting to definitively prove that Mothdusky had traced AI art. And eventually, many members of the furry art community believed that Mothdusky was lying. Twitter threads such as this one were being posted, being seen by hundreds of thousands. Mothdusky would eventually come clean and would put out a statement responding to the situation, which we'll go through now. She writes, "I'm sorry. Recently there's been controversy surrounding my work and the use of AI-generated art. I tried to downplay or deny what happened, and that was wrong. I owe my audience, my supporters, and the art community a genuine apology. In order to do that properly, I'm going to address things I need to take accountability for. The accusations are valid. I did trace and use AI-generated images in ways I shouldn't have, and I wasn't transparent about it. I also acknowledge that by saying I referenced AI art instead of fully admitting that some pieces were traced, I was minimizing the situation. I did lie. Everything came crashing down very quickly. I was scared. I was scared of the backlash, I was scared of the disappointment from those that trusted me, and I was scared of what you all would say to me. I'm sorry. Things got so crazy that it appears as though she had her accounts banned from both Fur Affinity and Blue Sky for scamming/harassment claims. I definitely do not agree with some of what's said to have happened to her. There were apparently death threats sent, which, guys, it's not that serious, it's furry art. But at the same time, it's understandable how a scandal like this would completely torpedo your reputation as an artist. I don't know about you, but to me, this is pretty cut and dry. There is no mere coincidence. This is very clearly the same. And I definitely think it's cut and dry that if you're enjoying yourself right now, you shouldn't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's the easiest way to show me that you're enjoying this and you want to see more of this kind of content. Here's the deal, guys. If this video gets more than 4,000 likes, I will make another furry related video by the end of the month. This will be known as Furbuary, alright? And if you know of any crazy furry scandals, the crazier the better, then definitely let me know down in the comment section below. I read all of my comments, I'll be glad to read it, and at the very least give it a look. In the meantime though, let's carry on with this video first. And we'll march on with some furry artist drama that, just like this video, descends into full-on chaos by the end. This, my friends, is madness. Magpie Madness. It was a perfectly normal summer's day in 2024 when our next story takes place. Out in Pennsylvania lies a city called Pittsburgh, and nestled in its heart is the David L. Lawrence Convention Center, which between the 4th and the 7th of July hosted the annual event, Anthrocon. This convention was attended by an estimated 18,000, and included in that number was a furry known as Magpie Madness. Magpie was no stranger to this convention, but this particular year had apparently received low sales on their items, so they took to Twitter to lament, plugging themselves and writing that they felt as though the artist alley being pushed aside had negatively impacted their sales. However, based on the prices of their work being outrageously high, others on Twitter disagreed. Now let it be known that despite the allegations, despite my channel's name and its new icon, I am not a furry, so I'm not too familiar with the going rate for badges. But if comments left on videos about this topic are to be believed, they seem to go for roughly $25 to $100. But as shown in this photo though, Magpie was selling them for $1,000. As you can imagine, this caused a little bit of pushback because, first of all, of course you're not making any sales if your prices are 10x your competitors, and second of all, in this kind of economy, charging that much is definitely frowned upon. But then the whole narrative would change after a Twitter user known as Metastatic would drop a nuclear bomb on this entire situation, alleging that Magpie wanted to produce and consume CP, was incredibly racist, and did demonetizable things to their cats. They linked a Telegram channel with screenshots and evidence to back up their claims. Within this channel were masses of screenshots containing incredibly disturbing messages. To save you the mental burden of seeing these, I'll only show you the most incriminating ones. Firstly, these show Magpie using the N-word, hard R. And while that's despicable in its own right, it only gets worse from here, ladies and gents. Screenshot after screenshot after screenshot show Magpie admitting being into minors, specifically Shota, which is a Japanese term for young boys, which from my research, it appears to be the male equivalent of lolly. In one instance, he outright states, "I want to blank a child." And in another, he writes plainly, "I'm a child molester." I mean, what kind of commentary can I even give this? In the infamous words of Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka, it's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. And the part that still keeps me up at night is that that's not even the worst of it. Remember that cat I mentioned earlier? Well, in one cursed screenshot that has almost certainly taken weeks off my lifespan, this artist states that at one point, while intimate with themselves, they had finished with their cat in the vicinity. And, well, the cat might have thought it was raining, but it most certainly was not. Sorry, I'm gonna use this bleach. I'll be back in a sec. Magpie would come out to address the situation within a post that's been seen more than 100,000 times on Twitter alone. They break their statement down into 4 different categories, those being racism, pedophilia, Bennett art, which is more pedophilia, and the cat stuff. In regards to racism, Magpie claimed that they were a teenager and much edgier back then, that they hung out with a bad crowd and have since changed. In terms of writing that they were a child molester, they came out to claim that this was just a joke and that they did not condone noncery. The Bennett art stuff, again, I think this is more about the pedo allegations. Bennett is a character from Genshin Impact, in case you don't know, and to my understanding, he doesn't have a canon age, but according to Google, most posts that I've seen put him between 16 and 20 years old. And allow me to anime push my glasses back for a moment, because technically, because he was born on the 29th of February, a day that only comes around every leap year, technically he's like 4 to 5 years old because he's only had 4 to 5 birthdays, but we'll let it slide. Then, in terms of the cat, they also claimed that this was just a joke and that they did not condone zoophilia. Let's just say that they did not receive too much support in the replies, as most people were out for blood. The main problem that people had was that they felt as though Magpie's timeline didn't exactly line up. Magpie claimed to be in their early 20s, and some of these posts were made 2 years ago minimum. So even if we're being the most generous we could be with Magpie's age and say they were 20, well, 2 years ago they would have been 18. So some of these posts would have been made when Magpie was a legal adult. Following this, it seems like Magpie took some time away from the internet, returning in February 2025. And upon their return, Metastatic would remind everyone once again of Magpie's crimes. At this point, it seems as though Magpie's definitely going to need those $1,000 badge sales as bail money, because the police are definitely coming.
The cops are coming.
Please don't. You said
The cops are coming.
please don't.
These days, the drama has cooled off, but it has definitely damaged the reputation of Magpie, who now appears to be an outcast in the furry community. But for our next tale, things weren't so simple. It's led to trauma, death threats, and even a furry civil war. It's time to unearth the fable of Diapergate. Oh, this is a bad one. For our next story, let me get the bleach out again as I introduce you to the concept of diaper furs. This is the type of thing that I don't think I need to explain. I feel like the word diaper furs is fairly self-explanatory, but just to cover all of my bases, a diaper fur is a furry that wears diapers. Now, from my research on Urban Dictionary, it describes the definition as a group of furry who pride themselves on wearing diapers. Unlike cub furs and baby furs, this group views their personas diapered, but not at a young child age. Some diaper furs find a sexual attraction towards diapers, but there are many others that find comfort and security while wearing diapers. And therein lies the problem. Some furries apparently wear this for some sort of security. I'm not a psychologist, but I do have to imagine that this is some sort of a response to trauma. Then there are others that do use it for sexual purposes, and the problem there is that, like, how do you know who's doing it for what reason? Do you know what I mean? How do you know which furry falls on which side? And as you'll soon see, even within the furry community, this can be controversial. As I said earlier, they are not all a monolith, they don't all think the same. There is drama and tension and conflict from within. And an example of this is a furry known as PB&J. In one instance, according to legend, he made a video expressing dismay at diaper furs and brought up the name of another furry known as Beta Eta Delota while doing so. One creator known as Soppy Castle 9 recorded the situation, describing what happened as such.
And obviously Peebly thinks it's weird and just kind of poked fun at it. He didn't really directly call anybody out and try to expose him. He just kind of jabbed a little bit at these people, and of course one of these people being Beta Ada. Now, because Peebly made this video and had a picture of him in there with the diaper stuff, I guess people went in on Twitter and probably on Beta's other social medias and started probably harassing him and quote-unquote exposing him and saying, you know, probably talking about the diaper shit, probably digging through his stuff. He posted a tweet back in December 28th saying, posting this here to give an update. If you're wondering how Beta is doing about a week after this, I'm still having ups and downs in terms of my emotions, but I'm taking things one day at a time and being around good friends when I can this month. And then he posted to, like, I don't know what you want to call them, twitlongers or whatever. Not really twitlongers, but a long message in these notes. I'll read them for you. So, full disclosure with what's been going on with me recently. A few weeks back, I was targeted, sexually harassed, publicly shamed, and defamed by multiple furry content creators and their online audience. This is because I have an adult side, an after dark account, and participate in the adult side of the fandom that they do not approve of nor respect the privacy/boundaries of. My adult side has remained separate from what I do on my main and has only ever involved or interacted with consenting adults. I am beyond appalled with this behavior. I feel violated beyond belief and more so disgusted with this weaponized violation of boundaries. Not just my boundaries were broken, but the boundaries of others, many of whom are minors, were broken through this creator blatantly putting screenshots of my After Dark account onto their followers' feeds. I appreciate everyone's patience and understanding with me in this situation. It has taken me time to emotionally process it all. I'm still mulling over and processing what the best course of action is for this matter, but to say I am deeply hurt and betrayed by all of this would be an understatement. And then about January 9th, he said, about a month now and I'm still working past the pain that this whole thing caused and is still causing. The feeling of having been violated like this isn't something that goes away quickly, but has gotten a little bit easier and manageable each day. Just gotta keep going.
I'll link Soppy Castle's video in the description in case you want to check it out after this, but this call out triggered what appears to be a furry civil war. Checking out the comments on Beta's Twitter post, people seem to be very supportive of him, but in PB's responses to the situation, well, people are very much on his side of things. While Beta claimed to have received a ton of threats and hate, after his response to the situation, his audience went to attack PB, leading to a bunch of hate and death threats being sent towards him. I think that it's worth mentioning that Beta is a pretty large creator. He actually has a larger audience than myself, so you can imagine that the hate that PB received was probably as large as the hate that Beta got. Ladies and gentlemen, a furry civil war was on our hands. Now, I personally have not seen the video where PB&J called out Beta, but according to both Soppy Castle and a creator called Jiv, they recalled the situation saying this.
From my and I'm going off my memory here, but his videos, actually all his videos, are pretty damn harmless. Yes, he'll jab a little bit, you know, a slight call out to these people that do weird shit or things that he just doesn't like, but that's about it. He doesn't go and harass Beta. He's never sat there and told anybody to go harass anybody.
Mr. P got a load of death threats and a load of nasty things, with people even openly admitting and saying to this guy, you should just not be in the fandom, you should just leave, blah 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 blah, being really toxic towards this guy, which was just really wrong, to be honest, and just straight out, you know, incorrect and immorally right, you know, like, bro, it was literally just a heart-warmed joke. He wasn't necessarily attacking Beta in the slightest, so I don't see the problem.
Whatever the case, soon after, PB&J would release a video response to the situation on his TikTok, so let's give it a watch and see what he has to say.
Hey guys, let's talk about Beta Ada Delota. I genuinely did not want to go back and forth with this man, but I think it's been reaching a boiling point to the point where I have to talk about it. But about a month ago, I included Beta in a video where I talked about how he likes to do adult stuff in diapers, and also the fact that he likes cub art, or at the very least followed cub artists and even got art from them. Whether it was a gift or not from the artist, it was still up on Beta's AD Twitter, or at the very least, it was before he went private. And I want to be very, very clear. Beta's diaper account was a public Twitter account for years. I did not go behind a paywall. I did not go through private information and pull it out I posted public information that he chose to share with the internet. He keeps saying all this bullshit that I broke his privacy and I did this and I did that and I violated him, and that's just not true. I did not do any of that. Beta, this was out in the open for the public to see. Stop sympathy baiting. Stop telling people that I endangered minors. All I did was show a photo of you in full suit in a diaper. It is not worse than any of the videos that I have with diaper first in it. I have so many videos where there are people in diapers and stuff like that, and they're all fully clothed, like the picture I showed about Beta. I did not include any NSFW images. Also, with that being said, it's kind of ironic you say that when you have been pushing your inflation art to minors for years. Inflation by itself is harmless, obviously, but pushing your kinks onto your minor audience is not okay. Also, he's been trying to get me banned or either warn staff about me at an A&E, which is a furry convention, because he feels unsafe. I want to say I have never threatened him, nor will I. I'm not a violent person, and I would never waste my time on someone like that. I've had to delete my posts on YouTube because I kept getting threats from baby furs telling me to either not be on the planet anymore or leave the fandom. I've been threatened to be sued. I've had people so upset with me that they've called me a liar about my sexual assault stuff at MFF because of this. It's generally disgusting, and like I said, I really wanted to leave all of this alone, but Beta will not stop lying and playing the victim card. You know what you did, dude. Own up to it, and stop sending your goons over me when I never said for anyone to attack you, ever.
I mean, what do you guys think about the situation? Let me know down in the comments. For me, when it comes to situations like these, I don't want to judge someone for their preferences, but when it comes to this kind of thing especially, there is definitely a line to be drawn. So once more, I implore you guys, please do not send any hate or threats to anyone. The fact that anyone is getting death threats over furry drama is kind of crazy to me. With that said, the situation now appears to be over, so hopefully it can be laid to rest. And in the same vein, it's now time for this video to come to rest. If you enjoyed it, then you should definitely check out my video on when comic dub YouTubers get exposed. In that, I discuss the fluffy community, who in my opinion are way worse than the furry community. If you thought this was wild, you haven't seen anything yet, so click on the screen right now to give it a watch, you absolute legends. Aside from that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.